It's bad behavior. It's bad behavior.
I know you both a pair of losers. All the Paul family suck.
Yeah, man, I feel for that. I'm hoping everybody frame is good, and I'm hoping, you know, speedy recovery. That's all I gotta say, man. I gotta do better.
Can you imagine seeing that? Can you imagine being involved in that area? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine those being your friends? You can't even imagine, you know, the trauma, the mental trauma that would, how that would affect anybody. Even people passing the other way.
So here's what went down. Oleksandr Usyk just went off on Jake Paul after that whole mess with Anthony Joshua's car crash, and man, you can hear the rage in every word. Usyk's not falling for any of this innocent act nonsense. The way he sees it, Jake Paul's been stirring up trouble around Joshua for way too long, and now his reckless stunts for attention have turned into something truly dangerous and completely out of line.
This is man. It's a bit bad behavior.
Watch how Tyson Fury handles this with pure class, while Jake Paul gets completely shown up. Fury gets what it means to be human and take responsibility. Paul's still hiding behind all that loudmouth garbage and cheap shots for clicks. When Fury speaks, it makes Paul look like some bratty kid throwing tantrums, especially with Joshua dealing with real-life consequences that go way beyond any boxing ring drama.
They are not your enemies. They are your brothers and sisters under God. We all came from Adam and Eve. In the beginning,
Listen to this nonsense. Jake Paul's still running his mouth like he has zero clue about the severity of what just happened. He's out here making wisecracks and acting tough while Anthony Joshua is literally healing from a brutal accident. This shows you exactly what kind of person Jake Paul really is. This isn't being confident, this is straight up being immature. Here's what separates legitimate champions from attention-seeking wannabes. Usyk demonstrates real respect for Anthony Joshua and everyone affected by this horrible situation. No massive ego, no self-promotion games, just pure class and dignity. After hearing this, Jake Paul's earlier garbage sounds even more disgusting and tone-deaf. Usyk gets what boxing brotherhood actually means, something Jake Paul has obviously never earned or bothered to understand.
Usyk said, "This is an unbelievable loss. Sinna Atlati for two incredible people who were not only part of AJ's team, but also friends. My sincere condolences to their families, loved ones, and everyone who knew them. Anthony Joshua, wishing you a speedy recovery. Stay strong, champ."
Johnny Nelson's dropping truth bombs that Jake Paul keeps running away from. This stopped being about fights, money deals, or social media beef a long time ago. People died in that crash, and Anthony Joshua barely made it out alive. Nelson's reminding everybody that boxing politics mean absolutely nothing when human lives are on the line. After hearing this perspective, Jake Paul's whole act feels dangerous and completely selfish, like he's still obsessed with getting followers while everyone else is processing real grief and trauma.
Serious. This is a serious situation, so you've got to forget that now. This is somebody's son. These are somebody's son. This is somebody's life. These boys have lost their lives. So people need to just put the boxing thing to one side. And I understand, you know, that could have been AJ. AJ could have been sat on the other side. Yeah, so again, it could have been a Rocky Marciano scenario all over again. But it wasn't. But still, those two other lives were just as valuable as Anthony Joshua's. And so you've got to give it the same consideration, the same passion, the same understanding, the same patience. And just, you know, when you're talking career, you know what? It's nothing. It means nothing in comparison.
Joe Rogan's breaking down just how close this came to being a complete nightmare. This wasn't some little fender bender or publicity stunt. This was pure survival against impossible odds. Anthony Joshua escaped death when the statistics said he shouldn't have. That reality makes Jake Paul's comedy routine and tough guy persona look absolutely disgusting. While one fighter narrowly cheats death, this other clown is still flapping his gums without any awareness whatsoever.
I mean,
that's bonkers. Thank God he didn't have a seatbelt on. I never say that. Thank God he didn't have a fucking seatbelt on, because if he did,
there's no way
he would be dead.
Even former rivals like Jarrell Miller get it. He admits that beef becomes meaningless when something this serious happens. Miller's not tight with Anthony Joshua personally, but he still demonstrates basic human compassion and respect. That reaction says everything you need to know. When guys who used to have problems with Joshua understand how grave this situation is, Jake Paul's behavior becomes completely indefensible. This tragedy has emotionally affected real fighters across the board, while Jake Paul keeps acting like he lives in some alternate reality where consequences don't exist.
You don't know what other people are going through. And even though AJ, you know, we not on the best terms, man, I feel for this brother, man. Because it could have been my family, could have been my friends. And, you know, I feel like, man, it's mentally, like, kind of draining looking at this stuff all day online. And like I said, I didn't really see nothing too graphic until this morning. Was like, now I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in my life, man. I've seen dead bodies before and all that. Man, I don't even know how to even express myself.
Joe Rogan's bringing up the concerns that every fan is thinking but most won't say directly. Just because you survive a crash like this doesn't mean you escape without lasting damage. Anthony Joshua's physical condition is literally how he makes his living, and any hidden injuries could destroy his entire career overnight. This is exactly why the situation demands complete seriousness and patience from everyone involved. While medical professionals work to evaluate any long-term effects, Jake Paul's circus act feels totally disconnected from what's actually happening. This has nothing to do with being tough online or building your brand. This is about a warrior's health and entire future, something Anthony Joshua has earned the right to protect with privacy.
Who knows what happened to him when he survived, right? Like, did he hit his head? Did he hit his neck? Like, what is he okay? Like, is he 100%? Or is he always going to be a little fucked from that?
Johnny Nelson speaks from years of experience in boxing and understanding life outside the spotlight. He's reminding everyone that rivalries eventually end, but losing someone lasts forever. Anthony Joshua means more than just another fighter in this story. He's someone's child and sibling who almost didn't come home that night. Listening to this makes Jake Paul's antics look even worse than before. While mature voices reflect on mortality and taking responsibility, Jake Paul keeps chasing his next viral moment. Nelson's wisdom brings everyone back to earth and shows exactly who truly grasped the weight of what almost happened.
That's how valuable life is, and how things can change in a heartbeat. So when we talk about fights and we talk about beefs and, you know, these things are just nothing when it comes to real life. And losing a life, so it was a sad thing to hear, a sad thing to see. God knows how it'll affect those that saw it mentally, emotionally. But you've got to think about these two men were somebody's child, someone's brother, and that's what you've got to think about. Those people that have lost their lives.
The pain game brings up something most people forget about. Anthony Joshua's trained his whole life to absorb punishment in the ring, but this type of sudden trauma operates completely differently. A guy who takes heavyweight punches for a living still has physical limits when unexpected impacts happen at high speed. Real recovery isn't about getting up and smiling for cameras. It requires time and extreme caution from medical teams. That truth makes Jake Paul's continued attention-seeking feel downright irresponsible and dangerous. This reminds us that being strong doesn't make anyone invincible, and Anthony Joshua's toughness deserves genuine respect, not mockery from internet trolls.
Been through such a severe car accident there. Like, all right, he's lucky enough to still be alive, but fuck me, his body must be going through a lot right there. This is not a man who winces in pain easily, right? He gets punched for a living. And obviously, like, you're supposed to take people out of car accidents like that with great care because you don't want to...
Eddie Hearn's focusing on what actually counts right now. Proper support systems, top medical attention, and family privacy matter more than any headlines or social media buzz. Anthony Joshua's team forming a protective circle shows real professionalism and genuine care during an incredibly difficult time. This demonstrates how elite-level boxing handles serious situations when lives are at stake. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's behavior feels completely inappropriate and unwelcome from the outside. While important work happens behind closed doors, all the external noise just highlights who actually belongs in this sport and who's still treating everything like some kind of game. John Fury's response comes straight from the heart, speaking as someone from a fighting family that knows risk better than anybody else. There's zero competition or rivalry in his words. words. Just pure relief that Anthony Joshua survived something horrific. That kind of genuine reaction cuts through all the internet garbage instantly. When respected voices like Fury speak this way, it demonstrates how truly serious this moment is for everyone involved. Jake Paul's trolling looks more pathetic every time authentic voices like this get heard. Real respect gets earned in moments exactly like these, and Anthony Joshua continues receiving it from the people who matter most.
AJ, you're one lucky lad. God bless you, man. I'm glad you're alive again. Shocked me, it has. Terrible. Anyway, good luck everybody, and try and enjoy the new year as much as you can and be safe.
Chris Eubank Jr. responds with the understanding of someone who grew up in boxing culture where showing respect matters when situations turn life-threatening. He recognizes that Anthony Joshua isn't just some news story or clickbait, but a human being who barely avoided a life-changing tragedy. This response carries serious weight because Eubank Jr. lives with the same risks that all fighters face every single day. His thoughtful reaction makes all the noise surrounding Jake Paul look stupid and completely misplaced. While Eubank Jr. reflects on safety and harsh reality, Jake Paul keeps chasing relevance with careless comments that hurt people. That difference becomes more obvious every day that passes. Anthony Joshua stays surrounded by fighters who actually value discipline and taking accountability for their actions. Jake Paul looks more isolated from that world each time moments like this demand real maturity, and he completely fails to deliver it. Sonifa breaks down the timeline in a way that hits you like a truck. Anthony Joshua goes from worldwide attention and championship-level performance to literally fighting for his life within hours. This isn't movie drama or promotional content for social media. This is cold reality smashing into someone without warning. Hearing it explained this way makes Jake Paul's previous trash-talking sound embarrassing and completely out of touch with what matters. Anthony Joshua handled his business professionally in the ring, then headed home and immediately faced something far more terrifying than any opponent. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's still desperately clinging to shock value and controversy for attention. This moment completely exposes how shallow and empty that whole approach really is. Real fighters live with serious consequences that extend far beyond cameras and contract negotiations. Anthony Joshua demonstrates true strength by surviving this ordeal and maintaining his dignity throughout. Jake Paul shows exactly how little he understands about the gravity of what happened and what could have been lost forever.
Just 2 weeks ago, this guy's in front of the whole world. The whole world. Netflix, millions of dollars, breaks Jake Paul's jaw in 2 places. Decides to go back to Nigeria, almost dies. 2 of his closest friends pass away in the accident. You never know what days your last.
Johnny Nelson keeps repeating a message that desperately needs to be heard because some people obviously still aren't listening carefully enough. Human life outweighs every single rivalry and every petty argument in this sport. Anthony Joshua came within seconds of complete tragedy, and other people in that crash weren't fortunate enough to walk away. Nelson speaks for grieving families and for all fighters who understand the real cost of this sport and of existence itself. With that sobering backdrop, Jake Paul's behavior looks hollow and completely tone-deaf to human suffering. There's absolutely no space for trolling and jokes when actual grief and loss are involved in the situation. Anthony Joshua continues getting met with genuine compassion and widespread support because he consistently carries himself with dignity and respect for others. Jake Paul keeps exposing the massive gap between chasing attention for money and having authentic character when it matters most.
Nigeria, it's just sad. It just makes you realise how valuable life is and how things can change in a heartbeat. So when we talk about fights and we talk about beefs and these things are just nothing when it comes to real life and losing your life. So it was a sad thing to hear, a sad thing to see. God knows how it'll affect those that saw it mentally, emotionally. But you've got to think about these 2 men who were somebody's child, someone's brother, and that's what you've got to think about, those people that have lost their lives.
Scarlett Davies breaks this down with total clarity and brutal honesty about what really happened. He questioned that fight from the beginning because he understood the risks involved, and unfortunately those concerns turned out to be completely valid. Anthony Joshua stepped into that dangerous situation with complete professionalism and composure under pressure. Jake Paul walked away with damage and somehow turned it into a trophy instead of learning any lessons from the experience. That response tells you everything you need to know about both men. Anthony Joshua traveled internationally, did his job perfectly, and stayed respectful throughout the entire process. Jake Paul chose provocation and controversy over self-reflection and growth. Now, after this terrible accident, those earlier warnings feel even more relevant and prophetic than before. Boxing demands responsibility and situational awareness from everyone involved. Anthony Joshua demonstrated both qualities consistently. Jake Paul treated real danger like content creation for his YouTube channel. That fundamental difference explains why the entire boxing world rallies behind Anthony Joshua and grows more critical of Jake Paul with each moment that passes.
I think some very interesting and germane points you make there in this moment, Raheem. That I think what I've noticed, that obviously there were a kind of panoply of opinions about him fighting Jake Paul to take it back a week and a half. I mean, I was critical of that fight being signed, first of all, because I worried about the dangers for Jake Paul. He got his jaw broken at the end of the day, and kind of used the scars as a flag in his new moon, delusionally optimistic in his words, as he is about these things. So Anthony Joshua went to America a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, played the role which he needed to play, was very classy.
The adult in the room delivers confirmed facts carefully and responsibly, which is exactly how this story deserves to be handled by media and influencers. No wild speculation, no manufactured drama, just verified information and genuine concern for Anthony Joshua and his family's well-being. That professional approach highlights just how serious this situation really is for everyone involved. While responsible voices focus on accuracy and showing empathy for victims, Jake Paul continues getting associated with reckless commentary that hurts people. Anthony Joshua's accident isn't material for jokes or building your personal brand online. It serves as a stark reminder of how fragile human life can be even for the strongest people on earth. The entire boxing community responds with unity and deep respect for what almost happened. Jake Paul once again finds himself on the completely wrong side of an important moment, proving that chasing attention without showing accountability has absolutely no place when harsh reality strikes without warning.
Joshua's SUV struck the stationary truck. So I just want to give you guys the breaking news. Unfortunately, Anthony Joshua was involved in a car accident in Nigeria. Prayers to Anthony J. Joshua.
When everything settles down, this whole situation leaves the boxing world asking serious questions that reach far beyond championship records and pay-per-view numbers. Anthony Joshua survived something that should have ended everything for him and his family, and watching how real fighters responded shows exactly where authentic respect exists in this sport. Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson Fury, Eddie Hearn, Johnny Nelson, and countless others reacted with genuine humanity and emotional maturity, while Jake Paul's name keeps coming up in deeply uncomfortable ways that expose how little responsibility he accepts when moments become truly serious and life-threatening. This was never about promotional campaigns or internet followers from the very beginning. It was always about life, devastating loss, and miraculous survival against impossible odds. Anthony Joshua handled every single stage of this nightmare with complete dignity, from the immediate aftermath of the accident to the respectful silence he maintained while others spoke recklessly for attention. That powerful silence communicates more than any trash talk or social media posts ever could. Moving forward, fans will be watching very closely to see whether Jake Paul finally learns when to step back and show respect, or continues chasing attention at completely inappropriate times that hurt people. One thing remains absolutely clear after all of this: the boxing community stands firmly united behind Anthony Joshua, and this terrifying moment has only made that bond stronger than ever before. If you truly respect fighters who carry themselves with genuine class and personal accountability when it matters most, make sure you actively support that positive energy. Share your honest thoughts in the comments below, pass this video along to others, and subscribe for more authentic boxing coverage that cuts through all the manufactured noise and tells the complete truth about what really matters in this sport we all love.